So as Liesl said, I'm Valerie. I live here in Scotland. And I thought it would be quite interesting to share with you some interesting insight that I have been able to get on just all about this wonderful new virus that we're living with, and just how to try overcoming COVID-19 and spiritual strengths and lessons that I have learned through this time. So with looking at the time that we're living in at the moment, there's a huge amount of stress and anxiety which we all have in our lives. And I think it's quite important to actually understand the effects of stress and anxiety in our bodies and what it does to our bodies. So, you know, there is really a real need to try and reduce and manage stress and anxiety that is in our lives, to try and calm yourself and best prepare yourself for possibly becoming infected with COVID-19. That's just one of the big advices that I can try and give to people. Stress and anxiety is caused by the constant media and government updates that we're getting. The news, it's everywhere you look, it's on the billboards, it's just constantly you're getting bombarded with all this information and this fear of the pandemic and the virus and everything else. There's also the harshness of living in lockdown. It's caused a huge amount of impact to a lot of people financially, and also it has meant that a lot of people have stayed indoors, and also it's got the other side of coming out. People are very anxious about now leaving their houses, and all of this creates a lot of stress in our bodies and in our lives. And these effects are felt psychologically and physically. So our bodies are designed, it's a sort of preservation design that we have within our bodies to react to danger, and this is to try and protect ourselves. We have a natural fight or flight response to anything that is causing us danger or to our lives or to a situation that we're in. So in modern times, we're not exposed to the same types of danger as we were many, many years ago, like having to fight lions that are loose in the wild. Instead, we have to deal with the daily amounts of modern stresses that are in our lives. So examples of work, money, health, trauma, possibly occasionally the occasional lion or two that happen to come on your path. It's important to understand the effects of stress, the reaction in the body, which can then help you understand why you're feeling the way that you are. I think it's something that people don't realize the impact that it actually has on your body and how you're coping, the amount of energy that it uses up. It's quite good to try and reduce stress as much as what you can and to conserve your energy. Understanding how your body works, learn how to work with it and not against it. Help yourself by helping yourself and others around about you. So now my Wi-Fi has frozen. So here we have our lovely little body over here, and we're just going to talk through a slideshow just showing you the impacts that there is on stress on your body and the reactions that it has. So if you're exposed to a dangerous situation, something, this fight or flight response has been activated within your body, you'll have the visual sharpening. So the blood flows over to the eyes, the brain focuses on what you're seeing, and it sends the messages to the brain telling you what you need to do. So either run out of the way or fight and get out, deal with the danger that you're exposed to. But as a result of this impact of the reaction that your body has had, there's also then the after effects of it. So the after effects of having this visual sharpening to get away from the danger or deal with the danger leads you with blurred vision. You have the body fluids such as saliva redirected into the bloodstream. So, you can see all you need your body to have the oxygen and everything working quickly. So it directs it away from what's needed in the initial time and gives you the energy to be able to do what you need to do to get out of danger. But the after effects of that is it can leave you with a dry mouth. So your airways widen to let in more oxygen, as well as your lungs work harder, again, just trying to get that oxygen around your body to deal with what you need to. And this can leave you afterwards feeling quite breathless. Your heart pumps harder to send oxygen and energy to the muscles, And this can leave you with feeling feeling your heart beating faster, almost feels like it's beating out of your chest, and you can land up with feeling like you've got heart palpitations. Your liver releases glucose to provide energy for the muscles, and your stomach and gut shut down the blood, and the energy from that is then diverted over to the muscles. And the after effects from that is that your tummy can feel like it's got those butterfly feelings, there's some funny feelings in your tummy. And unfortunately for a lot of people, when you're getting this really stress and this reaction, it can then land up feeling, give you diarrhea as well. Your skin lands up sweating more because it wants to be able to cool down the muscles that are having to work really, really hard. It can lead to that sweaty, clammy hand feeling. The blood in the skin is diverted to the muscles, so it leaves you with that pale skin look, and you can always, like after you've been exposed to a real shock or whatever, you land up looking really pale. The muscles in use, so they're tense and ready to work faster, and that can lead to the after effects of feeling the tension, aches, pains, spasms, and calcium is just discharged from the tense muscles, and that leads you feeling that pins and needles in your hands and feet. So you can see with this that there's an awful lot that happens in the body when you are met with all the stress and anxiety that's going on. So when you have that initial shock or danger that you're in, it happens very quickly. But in a situation like we're in now, where you've got the continual stress going on, every time you're turning on the news, you're hearing the reports of people dying, people getting very sick, and you've got the stigma of getting COVID-19 and the fear of what if this all happens. And all of this is causing this daily and sometimes hourly effect going on in your body, and it's using up so much energy and taking away from your health and lowering your immune system. So it's trying to find ways of, how do you deal with all of that? How do you find a way of coping through it? So I'm going to share with you all my own personal story and journey and lessons and tips that I found useful and helpful during this pandemic. And both with dealing with everything beforehand, actually then getting COVID, and also then through the recovery and that afterwards. So there's, like I've heard lots and lots and lots and lots and lots about COVID-19. Like I said, it's on the media reports, it's on the news, it's everywhere you go, and it's on social media. And I'd also been caught up with the media hype and all the information, and you're just watching it all the time, trying to follow what's going on. I was swept away with all the emotions that went along with the initial denial and disbelief, and thinking, oh, it's not so bad, or it's over in another country. More people die of the flu. This is just nothing. It's scaremongering, all the things that go through the heads. That then went on to actually being a bit fearful for this, and a lot of anxiety, and especially as it was starting to move closer and closer to the UK, and sort of looked like it was going to directly start affecting us and other countries up in South Africa and all loved ones all over the place. But I had to try and do something to try and deal with all of this anxiety that's going on. So, what I felt was trying to be as best prepared as I could for whatever the future was going to be, because you just don't know what's going to happen. It's all so unsettled. This really helped try and reduce my anxiety by finding a way to prepare myself as best as what I could. I was drawn closer to my faith, and did more scripture readings and listening to talks, looking at the prophecies and the promises of what is to come and what has to come to pass before the prophecies can be fulfilled. This really helped me understand and take comfort that God has a plan. We just can't understand all of this that's going on, but God does have a plan. Finding that inner peace of knowing that as scary as all of this is, God is in control, and that we have to trust in his plan and ask him for guidance. That really helped. Turning to the words of scriptures helped quieten that roar of all the media reports. I also found finding a hobby and a purpose helped relax and deal with all the anxiety and kind of clear that headspace a little bit. So I love sewing. Leona introduced me to sewing many, many years ago. And since moving over to the UK, I must admit my machines have sat stagnant for quite a while. And I just felt, I can get this out of something that I enjoy doing. And I felt a need of making masks. And that way I was having a purpose, doing something that can help people. And I've made lots and lots of masks and given them away to charity and just helping people in that way. But likewise, it was helping me just to clear my headspace. And it also then gave me time where I could be sitting still, doing something I was enjoying, and I could actually listen to more studies and listen to the daily readings over my phone. And it just helped me to strengthen my faith. I try to adopt healthy ways to improve my health so that both my husband and I would be in the best physical health just in case we got sick. So it was just all becoming very real. We kept up with our daily routine of taking daily vitamins and supplements, especially increasing vitamin C and taking zinc to try and boost the immune system. We made sure that we were eating a healthy, balanced diet and trying to lose any excess fat. Try to stick to natural ingredients and try to cut out sugars and junk food as much as what we can. As Leona said in hers, it's really hard to do that, and especially just trying to grade it down and take positive steps towards making those changes does really help, because it's only once you've cut all of that out of your diet that you realize that the impact that it actually physically is having on you and how fatigued it makes you feel and lethargic, and it just doesn't set you up in a good place if you're having to deal with an awful virus like COVID-19. We implemented good hygiene practices, so listening to all the guidelines, good hand washing, hand sanitization, cleaning the house. My house has never been bleached so much. I don't have a very tidy house, but handles and door contacts and that got washed down fairly regularly. And by this stage, I had a surplus of masks and I'm able to wear them when going out. And I strongly felt the need that I needed to do all of this, and I had to try and be as healthy as possible and prepared as possible, and to have as strong a faith as I could to be able to face the battle if it was my chosen path of getting in contact and getting this virus. I found peace in knowing that all the rest was in God's hand, and that I was doing everything that I could to put us in the best place that we could be. I work with the National Health Service in Scotland. I work with a community-based neurological team. So we go out and visiting patients' houses. Inevitably, during this time, I was exposed to COVID-19 after being redeployed to the wards, having to help out on the wards with the pandemic. I tested positive on the 12th of April, 2020, and suddenly all of this got very, very real and hit home hard. The battle for me had begun. There are many stories of what to expect when all of this, or with all of the symptoms, and it gets so confusing speaking to people because everyone is just so different. It affects everyone so different. Some people, it hardly has any effect at all. Some people recover quite quickly after 7 days. Some people are so extreme that they're admitted to hospital, they're in ITU, and some people do die from this. So there's so many different variants, and it's really hard to find one set rule book of this is what I need to do to help me. But all I can do is reflect on my story, my pathway, and try and give you some tips of what I found that was helpful. What I found that they don't tell you very much with COVID-19, what I found with myself, it was very much of a psychological battle as well as a physical one. Once I was diagnosed, I found an inner peace and realization that I was not in control and I had to hand full control over to God. There was almost a sense of relief that, because I'd been feeling not great for almost a week before I tested positive. And it just was so odd and strange. It was very weird how I felt. And once I got the test done and found that I was positive, it was almost like putting that mind at ease of, right, okay, it is this. It's no longer trying to second guess it. Is it not? What am I doing? Should I not be doing something? I could just hand everything over to God and say, right, I just need to now do just focus on resting and healing. I'd done everything that I could to physically beforehand to try and prepare myself for this this time, and I had tried everything that I could to try and avoid infection, but this is now the path that I was on, and I had to just have faith and rest and heal. For me, the psychological battle that I found is the continuous thoughts that are just rushing through your head, and they shout so loud. Trying to figure out how did I become infected? I had tried so hard to avoid this. I had followed all the guidelines. I'd worn masks. I'd done all the hand care. Who did I come into contact with? Where did it come from? Was it the shops? Was it on the ward? Was it somewhere else that I was exposed to it? And the truth is, actually, it doesn't really matter. The fact is that you have it, and you just need to learn to find a way of dealing with it. Just thinking, have I done enough? Have I done enough beforehand to be strong enough to be able to deal with all of this? The fear being created by all the news and media reports, all the deaths, all the hospital admissions, all the ICU and intubation, the possibility of my condition actually deteriorating and possibly having lifelong future health conditions, all these things that you're told in the media that they don't know, they can't give you the reassurance that things aren't going to happen to you. The fear of who I may have infected. Like I said, I was feeling quite weird and odd feelings for a full week before I was actually diagnosed, and just sort of thinking, who have I come in contact with that I have inadvertently passed this on to? How unwell are they going to be? Are they going to die because of the result of me? Is it going to be my fault? Worried for my family. Worried. Worried that if I was to deteriorate and die, how would they go? Worried that my family would become seriously ill, and it would be my fault. Sorry. All very real emotions. There's so much anxiety and stress, and all of this is while you're feeling unwell and in a physical battle of your life. So I'm meant to be trying to give you tips and calming you, but this is the psychological impact that it has on you. And just knowing that it's real and knowing what you have to face can kind of just give you a bit of a heads up and hopefully help you to deal with it. Even if you don't contract the virus, obviously, you're still dealing with a lot of these thoughts still rushing through your head. So to give a brief overview of my own personal experience and advice that I can try and pass over to you, so that you can cope with the psychological and physical impact of the different stages that I've found with COVID. So first of all is just the living with COVID all around you. It's just everywhere. So try and be prepared. Try and busy yourself with being, trying to look after yourself, trying to get yourself prepared if this had to happen to you. Don't be drawn into all the media panic and hype. There's lots and lots of fake news around about there. There's lots of scary stories. But instead, try and listen to the facts and do what you can do to prepare yourself. Try and stay calm. Create a plan in case you get infected. Set up a support network for food and essential supplies in case you have to isolate if you become ill. If you have an action plan in place before, it's then a lot easier to deal with things if you did land up getting COVID. So for myself, we had a friend across the way that we could then, she was my call that I just made to say we're going to need some help with shopping and getting in. We can't leave the house if you need to supply medication, all that type of stuff. So just knowing that you have somebody there in the background to help you just helps relieve that stress rather than having to set up something once you are ill, because you are going to not have the energy and the brain space to have to really think about that. If possible, try and have some dry foods already bought into the house so that you don't need to leave the house once you're ill. Don't stockpile. Don't go rush into the shops and buy trolleys and trolleys of stuff. Just get something that's going to be able to tide you over, and put that aside, so that until you can use that until your support network kicks in. Try and have some ready meals or some easy meals that are to prepare, because if you did land up getting sick, you're not going to have much energy to cook lots of meals. Examples, maybe even something simple like beans on toast, scrambled eggs, something just that's going to be nutritious but easy just to prepare quickly. If you're able to plan ahead and have any freezer space, prepare a few extra meals and just pop them in the freezer so that you can just take them out. Try and adopt a healthy lifestyle. Your diet and activity, it's all very important to try and be as healthy as what you can. Do this now to get into the best physical shape to build up your strength. Take your nutrients and vitamins to build up a strong immune system. Recommendations of vitamin C and zinc, and also a good daily or all-round daily vitamin. Stay hydrated, drink plenty of fluids, preferably water. Keep your mind and soul at peace. Find a hobby and purpose and strengthen your faith to keep your mind and soul at peace and stay relaxed. Learn relaxation techniques. Soft tummy breathing is what I can recommend. It's a really, really useful tool to learn and more about and to practice. Practice it now. Use it to deal with all the anxiety and stress that's going about, and it'll really come in handy if you did land up contracting COVID. Understand the effects of fatigue, the effects that it'll have on your body, and strategies that you can use to help. You could possibly develop post-viral fatigue after developing COVID-19. I was fortunate enough to go down that path as well. And it's very, very useful and helpful to have the knowledge of how you can help yourself to recover. A lot of my work that I do is around fatigue management, and if anyone has any questions or needing help, then I'm happy to answer any questions at a later time. It's such an important thing, I think, for everybody to learn, and to learn about fatigue and fatigue management while you're well, because it's very hard to put that into place when you are actually ill, and you never know when something is going to come up and turn life upside down in that way. So with diagnosis, I find place yourself in God's care and pray. This was my greatest tool. I handed myself over to God. Each moment was a continual communication with God. There was no beginning and end of prayer. It was just a faith walk. Christ's prayer to God in the Garden of Gethsemane was one that just kept coming to my mind and going through my thoughts, where he says, "Oh, my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done." My path that I was on was nothing compared to what Christ had up ahead of him and what he had to endure. But I felt completely at God's mercy and felt peace at handing myself over to him. Take a breath and deal with the emotional impact of the reality of the situation. Use the soft tummy breathing techniques to try and relax and take in more oxygen and try and stay calm. The body needs all its strength to heal and fight. To add all the impact of the stress and anxiety that we spoke about in the earlier slides will only make it harder and will use up vital energy. So contact your support network to activate help. Turn off all media reports and social media updates on COVID. Increasing your stress and anxiety on hearing the daily figures and death rates and hospital admissions, and it's not helpful. You just need to deal with what you're dealing with now within your house and within your body and what you're going through. Acknowledge your psychological thoughts and anxieties. Know that you have done the best that you can to take a day at a time, and don't try and second guess where things are going to go, because it's not something that you have control over. rest and conserve your energy. I found it helpful trying typing up a daily update on my phone in the notes section, and then just copying and pasting the message over to all those who were contacting me and wanting an update and wanting to know how I was doing. I was so thankful and grateful for all the support and the messages that I received, but it does use up a lot of your energy. So that's just one little tip that I found really useful, is just having a copy and paste, so I'm not typing a new message each time. And then self-isolate, really important. You just don't want to be knowingly passing this on to other people. And then you've got the however long it's going to be of your period of being ill. Some people recover quite quickly, in a few days they feel quite better. Some people are weeks, some people are months after, and it's just such a personal pathway. But use the soft tummy breathing exercises to relax and get more oxygen. Try and eliminate as many of the stress factors that you can. Your body needs to heal and fight, and just try and relax and stay calm. Walk with God in prayer. Prone lying, that's lying over on your stomach, I found that really, really useful. If your breathing does become difficult, and you get this lung burn, I landed up with a lot of lung pain, and the breathing, you only have enough breath in your lungs to give a few words in a sentence. You're just not able to even make it to the end of a sentence. And you're just really focusing on actually your lungs needing to expand and taking that oxygen. But if the breathing does become a problem, and you try lying short periods of time on your tummy. I just pumped up lots of pillows underneath me and just lying on your tummy. It just seems to relieve this pain a little bit. And it also allows for improved gas exchange and more oxygen to enter into the system. This is used a lot with people that are actually on incubation in ITU, and they're also busy doing research in that on the moment of the effects of prone lying with people who are awake and alert and not unconscious and incubated, and finding that actually is a little bit of evidence to show that this does help. Drink plenty of water and keep up with vitamins and nutrients. Sleep. Sleep, 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 sleep. Sleep as much as what you need to. The fatigue that you experience with COVID is off the scale. Allow yourself to rest. It's not anything I've ever experienced before, of being that tired. I would say, especially within the first part of the first week after diagnosis, out of a 24-hour period, I was lucky if I was awake for 4 hours. So listen to your body and do what your body is telling you that you need to do. Don't overdo things when you're feeling well. It comes in waves, and your body needs the strength. So there's a lot of reports of people maybe feeling a bit better. I certainly had, after a week, I did feel a bit better. And I thought, right, the house hasn't been cleaned for a week. I need to shower. I need to strip the beds. I need to clean. If you use up all your energy, it comes in waves, and you need that strength to be able to deal with the next phase if you're going to be entering into that. So again, just listen to your body and don't overdo things. Take regular paracetamol for your fever and pain, and have faith. It was just such a huge tool for me. And get medical help if things aren't improving. And then moving on to the recovery stage, it's something that really isn't spoken about very much. I think with the whole media and everything else, it's all about how to not get COVID and then what to do when you have it. And there's not very much spoken about but what you do afterwards. You've been through this huge traumatic experience. And there's still a lot of fear out there. There's not a lot of information of what it's left you with. And all I can say is just take the time to heal. It's gonna take time. It's not a case of you're better and that's it, brilliant and wonderful. Some people heal a lot quicker, but again, it's listening and tapping into your body and just taking the time that you need to heal and get your strength back up again. Implement fatigue management strategies. So these are ones like balance of rest and activity. Make sure you do take lots of rests, but you also equally need to have some activity in. Your muscles have all been weakened with the amount of time that you've possibly been in bed and not been able to be as active. So you need to balance that out. You can't just go and hit walking and too far and climbing and hitting all your gym exercises. You need to build it up slowly, and you have to have plenty of rest breaks around about it to try and support the activity that you're doing. You need to pace yourself. Don't overdo things. Plan it out. Take your rest breaks in between. Plan your activity. Don't do everything all in one go. Try and spread things out. Prioritize what is most important for you to spend your energy on. Try and be organized and delegate tasks to others for help if you're able to. Take lots of rests and listen to your body. Continue with a healthy diet and daily vitamins. Continue with prayer and reflect on all the positives of that there are and what there is to be thankful for. You've overcome a huge traumatic thing, and reflecting back on everything that all the positives that there are does really help. So I know I'm a little bit on my time. I'm worried that Liesel's going to switch me off. Are you happy for me going through some soft tummy breathing quickly, Liesel?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay. With soft tummy breathing, I don't know if many of you have heard of it, but this is a really, really helpful tool that really helped me. So it's also known as abdominal breathing. So it's deep breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. So if you try sitting straight up, your back is straight as opposed to being slump position. So you're not then compressing the lungs already. You're giving the lungs as much space as what you can to try and expand. You want to try and take a deep breath as you inhale through your nose. Hold it briefly. And just think about it, so what you did then. Let it out. What did you do? Did you push your stomach out as you took the breath in, or did you hunch up your shoulders and you did all this upper work? So really what you want to do is to try and concentrate on relaxing the shoulders and relaxing the chest when you're taking the breath in. You don't want to be restricting the lungs and causing that restriction of allowing the lungs to be able to expand. There's also a big rule of thumb of when you're thinking of trying to be relaxed, is you cannot be tense and relaxed at the same time. So if you think of that breath, if you're hunching your shoulders and shrugging them up and pulling and drawing that breath in through your upper chest, you've got all these muscles that are really, really having to work hard. So you're not going to be able to have a full relaxation when you're trying to get it as well. So what we want to try and do is to take another breath, but only this time I want you to relax your stomach and push your stomach out. So allow your stomach to expand as you take that breath in through your nose. Gradually inhale, slowly to roughly to the count of 4, pushing your stomach out, holding briefly, and then exhale through your mouth, roughly to the count of 8, and then relax. So just in your own time, as you can practice that yourselves, and try and get the knack of doing it. It's not always a natural thing while we're awake. But it is actually the natural way that you breathe when you're asleep. When you're in the REM state of sleep, we naturally go into soft tummy breathing because we're in that full relaxed state and the stomach is just expanding and your lungs are filling up nicely with your oxygen. So if we try and do 3 breaths by yourselves of doing the soft tummy. And while you're doing it, if you notice the feeling of relaxation that's gradually settling over you, so just think about relaxing all of your face muscles, relaxing your shoulders and your arms, and just listen to your breathing. Once you've got that breath going, just go into a natural rhythm and just feel that your blood pressure is decreasing. You're feeling less pressured, just letting go of all of that stress and just reducing the physical tension that there is round about you. I often find it quite helpful just thinking from the top of your head of trying to switch off all the muscles, just relax them as you're working down, focusing on the breathing, and with each breath just blowing away more and more of the stress and anxiety. With doing the soft tummy breathing, you can also land up feeling a wee bit dizzy, but that's often just the extra oxygen that you've got going through your body. So once you're feeling that dizzy feeling, just go into a normal breath. You don't want to be hyperventilating, and just focus on relaxing into that nice fuzzy feeling that you've got. So soft tummy breathing is really easy to do. It's a really helpful tool to have. You can do it anywhere. If you're in a stressful situation somewhere, before having to go into an interview or before having to deal with something that you know is going to be hard, just taking a couple of these breaths just to help calm the heart rate and deal with all the stress and anxiety stuff that your body is kicking into, like we spoke about in the earlier slide, with that fight or flight feeling that's all going through you, and you can just kind of deal with that. It's an age-old saying of just take a breath. So practice the breathing, practice it, and put it in place of trying to deal with some of the stress. It can also help if you're having sleep problems and doing it in your bed at night, instead of trying to think about falling asleep, just concentrate on your breathing and doing this, and the relaxation, it can help you just fall asleep. So with relaxed breathing, air flows smoothly in and out of the lungs rather than being drawn in forcefully and blown out with equal force. With soft stomach breathing, the stomach rises with each breath in and lowers with each breath out. And you can check this by putting one hand on your chest and the other on your stomach. So if you're struggling to get the soft tummy breathing technique, putting your hand on, you then can be a bit more aware of which part of your body is working. If only the hand on your stomach is moving up and down, you're probably breathing correctly. And if the hand on your chest is moving up and down, then you may want to practice this a little bit more and try and get better with it, and as your breathing becomes more relaxed.